basically from South Fraser Perimeter Road and the existing landfill access, extending Burns Drive along Highway 99 to 88th Avenue, so that farm vehicles and emergency vehicles can get along Highway 99 on the north side without going onto the main routes. That's also going to take landfill traffic. The interchange at South Fraser and 99 is going to take all the landfill traffic off Burns Drive. So landfill traffic, 400,000 trucks a year will come down Highway 99, use the interchange at South Fraser Perimeter Road and 99 and go into the landfill. So I think that's going to be a big help keeping traffic off Burns Drive. Burns Bog, the alignment is outside the bog. We had to be very careful about that, and we worked very carefully with the Burns Bog Management Committee and with the Scientific Advisory Panel to make sure that we were doing the right thing there. And so we've done that. We're also in the process of working with them to make sure that the drainage that we do and other things that we're going to be building there actually will help the bog. If you look at the Burns Bog Management Plan that's been developed by the Burns Bog Management Committee and the Scientific Advisory Panel, they have top 10 action items, and we're really, in constructing South Fraser Perimeter Road, are going to help facilitate a lot of those top 10 action items that they're looking for in managing and supporting the bog's future. Just one more thing on that, there is going to be a long-term management monitoring program. If we find things in monitoring that need to be changed, there'll be some adaptive management changes will be made to make sure that we continue helping work with the bog. A construction update, just to give you some idea of the long-term plan. There's what we call early construction work. That's the preloading for soil consolidation. There's quite a bit of that to be done. We've actually started some of that work in Surrey. It's preloading, some utility relocations, and some drainage improvements. We anticipate once we have worked with the Agricultural Land Commission, and assuming that we get the go-ahead, we basically would start working the Delta landfills and try and get that started as soon as possible, and also moving north from Tsawwassen, the Highway 17 interchange down to Port Way to Highway 99 through that area. So that'll be into 2009. There's been a lot of planning and reviewing. I actually started work on this project in 2003, left for a couple of years, and came back, and I've been back for a couple of years now, and lots of continued planning, environmental assessment process. You can see a lot of participation, and if there's one thing in Delta and Surrey we get is great participation, and it really has made a difference to. I don't know if you've looked at the web and all the alignments we've looked at, but there's been a whole lot of alignments, and things have changed dramatically as we move forward, listening to people. And we need that input, and so we've had a lot of it, and that's where we're at today. We did get federal and provincial environmental approvals this summer, and now we're working with the Agricultural Land Commission, as I mentioned. And as we move forward, we need to have environmental management plans before we start construction, and as we go forward, making sure that we stick to those plans. Timeline, early work this year, late this year and next year, and we basically would plan on being finished in December 2012. So that's a bit of a quick overview. I know that some of you have got businesses to run and other things to do. So, but if anybody has any comments or clarifications, I'll be pleased to talk. Hearing none, that's great. Eliza.
Can I just give you a microphone, please, Eliza?
Thank you. I've been asked to ask this question. What we've been reading is that the South Fraser Permit Road is exclusively for trucks, so that doesn't take all the cars off of River Road that I have to contend with. The other thing is, we have heard that it's not going to be economically viable, so therefore it's not going to be towed. If that's true, who's going to pay for this road?
The route is not exclusively for trucks, and I hope to be one of the first cars on it, but it isn't exclusively for trucks. But certainly the focus in moving forward is to have that economic link along the south side of the river, joining up the port, the ferries, joining up the communities, joining up with railway, with Sunbury, Tilbury, CN Rail, Fraser Surrey Docks, and so on. So there will be more trucks on the road, on South Fraser Permit Road, and that's what one of the focuses is. So there'll be more trucks on it than normal. And one of the big objectives is to take trucks off local roads. We need trucks. We need to move goods. We need to get things to restaurants and to shops. So we need that. But no, there will be, I'm sure, lots of cars, and we're certainly counting on cars using this route. That's going to take cars out of residential neighborhoods.
That's not being reported, and I've heard His Honor Kevin Falcon saying that the South Fraser Permit Road is exclusively for trucks, and that's what's been reported in the papers.
I don't have any control over what's in the papers, but I can tell you that it's designed for trucks and for other traffic. And it's going to really take not just trucks out of residential streets, but it's going to take a lot of cars out of residential streets. And it's certainly designed for that. And I know if I was back in Tawasin and Ladner, I'd be using it on a regular basis.
You mentioned about cars going south and using the tunnel that we're not able to use now, and then coming into I guess South Delta. Where does that connect? That extra lane?
Well, if you're coming south in the tunnel right now and commuter, if you use the counterflow lane,
It goes right to White Rock right now, but you mentioned
correct.
that we could
So
go to
you'll
Leonard's
be able to basically, especially if you're from Tawasin, you'll be able to stay in the counterflow lane, which will take you past the turnoff to Highway 17, but you'll be able to keep going down 99 to the interchange at South Fraser Perimeter Road, take a right, and end up down in Tawasin. So it allows you to use that counterflow. Perhaps a minor point, but when you're from Tawasin, it's sometimes frustrating. I know I've been there and it's been frustrating. Actually, first time I did it by mistake, and I was trying to come to Ladner.
And I had another question. Utility relocation. Which utilities are you talking about?
Every time you build a road, we have utilities, and in the case in Delta, basically, there's some BC Hydro, there's Terracin Gas, and sewer, the Delta sewer line. So, and then also wherever you go, you also have kind of usually smaller utilities, basically a water line going into business that you have to relocate. So all of those impact all along the route. I think in Delta, one thing we're very cautious about is the Delta sewer line, for example, that comes out to Tawasin. And so there's just a whole lot of those. Those are the kind of the hidden things that we never talk about, and they don't get much media, but they do cause any of us that are trying to build roads or other things, so they do cause trouble.
I have one comment, question. First, I would like to thank you for your presentation there. I thought you did a very good job. It was very clear, very easy to understand. A lot of our team members travel Highway 17, so I believe what you're doing is really going to assist. They live in Ladner, they live in Tawasin, and they actually stayed late because they want to wait for the traffic to dissipate. So this will be good to be able to get them home to their wives and children and families and so forth. But I did have one question, and you may have answered it. If South Fraser is going to be open up for cars as well as trucks, will 17 be open for trucks and cars, or only cars? And if only cars, how are you going to manage trucks to get on there?
I think you're always going to have local delivery trucks and other trucks that need to do local deliveries. You will always have that. And but I think we have been talking to Metro Century Port Vancouver, Delta Port, in the planning stages. And basically, we've talked about making sure that Delta Port trucks are using South Fraser Permanent Road. And the Ministry of Transportation and Delta will have to talk about that a bit. But you basically do that through load restrictions and other ways. But you will see the majority of truck traffic go on South Fraser Perimeter Road. Local delivery trucks and so on will have to use Highway 17 still. And I appreciate your comment about commuting and employees being able to get to work and back on time. I know that's one of the frustrations I hear about. But I think in addition to that, what this is going to do really is it's going to allow good transit as well. I think we're working with TransLink, and this will help reliable transit, and I could see good transit over to the Scott Road SkyTrain station. Things like that are going to make a big difference, I think, to employees along the way.
Hi, thanks for your time in the informative presentation. Just a couple questions. I understand the sort of the short-term effects of the reduction of congestion. I'm just wondering what your projections look like in terms of when the roads will fill back up again. If the growth projections for port traffic are what we are hearing that they are, at least in a, almost immediate doubling, and then who knows what in the future. I'm curious what impacts you'll see in terms of the development we'll see in the region if the road's going first, and I'm also interested in kind of where this ends. Like, do we become suburban Los Angeles after a while? Like what's the end point of paving in Delta?
Well, I think that's a good point, and you can't build your way out of congestion, that's for sure. And this isn't just about that, but we will always have trucks, we'll always have to make deliveries, goods will always have to move. But I think that's why we need that balanced approach. Do that better job with rail, do that better job with transit. And it's not going to be a black and white, we move to transit tomorrow. That's an impossible situation. But we're going to have darn good transit. It's going to get much better over time. We really have to encourage people to leave their vehicles. At the same time, we're going to have to have, again, something where trucks can move. Tolling, I think tolling on Port Mann Highway 1. Again, we're going to have transit, good transit, reliable transit on Port Mann Highway 1 for the first time in 20 years. And but tolling is another thing. Tolling helps all of us make better choices about what we want to do in terms of our vehicles. And I think what we will see on Port Mann, for example, is you'll see people make choices. And so using all of these things, having a balanced approach, growth is not going to stop. So how do we manage it? How do we get people to change over to transit, to smaller vehicles? I think you're also going to see, one of the big improvements is in the last year, just the improved regulations on diesel. So that is making a huge difference. Need to continue that on. GM introduced their electric car this past week. Those are the things that are going to make a difference. And how many of you and how many of your friends have you been making decisions lately based on fuel prices in terms of buying different vehicles? That's not to say that if fuel prices, that's not going to make the difference to not need some of these improvements. We're still going to need roads to move goods. So I think all of these things have to be used in combination.
Just a quick question to follow up on that about the timing of investment in transit versus in roads. If we build the road infrastructure first, are we not going to see more suburban sprawl throughout the region as opposed to a heavier sort of upfront investment in transit? Right now, TransLink's operating at about $1 million a year deficit, and according to their own documents, if that funding's not replaced, they'll have to cut about half the service in 2 years' time. So, if given that situation, even if we replace the funding, we're not talking about the upfront capital investment that would actually build densified communities around transit hubs. I'm just kind of curious about the timing of the transit investment versus the road investment and what the impacts will be on the region.
Well, I think all these things are happening concurrently, and I think they have to happen concurrently, and that's obviously been recognized by the $14 billion. I don't think we should also forget the link in land use planning, and transportation should follow land use planning, and that hasn't always been the last 50 years, 100 years, but we really have to land use planning, and all of the transportation improvements have to work in conjunction. We need that balanced approach, and I think we're spending much more on transit over the next few years than we are road improvements. And I think you're just going to see probably a lot of that continue.
I have only been able to see the alignment of the SFPR dated February, because that is the latest version that Delta Corporation actually has. I assume it has moved somewhat from that time, but however, I just want to know how close it's going to schools. The February alignment, in fact, one of our schools was 255 meters from this road. And how do you justify that, given the proven links of a diesel particulate and lung capacity in children?
It's absolutely something we have to think about and look at, and be pleased to go over the map with you to show you how we actually do what we do in terms of being near schools. In general, we mostly move away from schools on this route, and we're very close to other areas, but schools is something we very much think about. Ladner, we're moving away from schools, and so I think it's probably best to go through the map with you and show you. I've seen quite a bit in the media about schools, and it's some of the stuff I've seen is not where we are today. So if you want to see me afterwards, I'd like to go through the route with you to show you where the schools are and where we are, and I think you'll be quite pleased to see what we've got.
Actually, I have to pick up my grandson from school at 2 o'clock today, so I won't be able to stay afterwards, but Heather, would you please get that for me? Thank you very
Well,
much.
pleased to get your name, and we can find you, meet you, no problem.
Oh, sure.
I just wanted to understand what the toll plan was for the South River Road.
There's no tolling on South Fraser Perimeter Road. Maybe I was confused or confusing, both maybe. No, the tolling I was talking about is on Port Mann Highway 1. So you will see tolling there. You won't see tolling on South Fraser Perimeter Road.
So who's going to pay for the road?
So thanks for...
Can I repeat my
Sure.
question?
Sure.
I asked you, who is going to pay for this road since there's no tolling?
Okay, yeah, thanks, Liza. I forgot the second part of your question. Thanks for reminding me. The road, basically, we have $365 million coming from the federal government, and the balance will be put forward by the province.
In other words, the taxpayers are paying for it.
That's correct.
Don't mean to be a nag. Just curious, when's the next round of public consultation? I'm on the impression that when the contractors are selected, there'll be another opportunity for some public input.
There will be some more public consultation as we move forward into 2009.
So early in 2009, or
I'm not actually sure of the dates, but if you like, we can get you the dates.
is the plan to do it before the next provincial election?
We don't do things based on when the provincial elections are, so we're here to try and build the road in the best possible location. So,
Okay. Thanks for your time.
thanks a lot for taking your lunch time to come and listen. And if anybody's got comments, please. Pam is here, Ron is here, Jeff is here, so we've got details for you. Thanks.